Well, welcome back. There was a slight technical difficulty, but we're back and we're on, and welcome back. And now it is my wonderful honor to introduce What's the Buzz with our own Buzz Noe and the announcements. Take it, Buzz.
Okay, glad to do so. Thanks, Reverend Pam. So here we are as our summer is beginning. Let's all know it will guide us to winning our current battle with this corona thing, as warm weather allows us to get out and flame. Meanwhile, we'll provide the blessings you seek. So here's the announcements for this week. Morning mindfulness, we're calling it that because Reverend Pam is leading a meditation every weekday starting at 9 o'clock. It'll be on Facebook Live, and there's a meditation series based upon Ho'oponopono. And that reminds you that apology, forgiveness, gratitude, and love will connect you with divine perfection from above. And tomorrow evening, our one live gathering at the center will continue. It's from 7 to 9 p.m. as the writers group gets together. The writers group will gather face-to-face with all the precautions still in place. And a reminder that in this time of struggle, please donate to our center in any way that you can, with any amount that you might be able to do so. You can do that through our center website link. It's also on our Facebook page. You can just click the link and use PayPal or credit or debit card to give us what you're able to, because it'll help us continue to move forward and give you the blessings that you deserve. And also, a reminder that thanking you for your generosity there, but to our more donation suggestions that focus on helping the people that are currently in need. One is the Ventura County Rescue Mission. There's their link. It's also on our Facebook page as well as the site. And the Ventura County Food Share are really looking out there to help people that are in need of food at this particular time. So thank you again for your donations to them. And a reminder that our center is here for you in every way. If you feel you're in need of blessings, or prayer, or treatment for your own well-being, please don't hesitate to call the center, leave a message, or go send an email to the center, and we will put a treatment into place that'll help you get through all of this as well. So thank you again for that. And also a reminder that we have sent an email out to everyone that is connected to the center to get your input on what precautions we should take, what measures we should make sure are in place when we do finally open up the center to live gatherings again. So please take a look at that email and send your responses back so we can have those things into place as we look to what we need to do to reopen in the next few months. Thank you for that. And a reminder that the summer season has now arrived. Stay safe, keep cool, and we all will thrive. So have a fun, wonderful summer. We'll be here for you. That's it for the announcements. I'll see you right here soon. Meanwhile, for your enjoyment, here is a great video tune. Nemo Patel and Shivani Rafit sing about the importance of spreading love.
Don't you feel the love is all around, in the sky and in the ground, in every single living thing, in the song that I'm singing. There are children in the streets that have nothing to eat, yet their hearts are full of love. They are beings from above. Love's everywhere you go. All you have to do is open up your soul. Feel the love inside you grow, and take every chance you get to spread the love everywhere. Can you feel it in the air? It's spreading everywhere. Can you feel the love inside? It's spreading worldwide. With every step you take, there's pleasure, there is pain. Every being everywhere. Feel the love you share. Feel the love we share. Let it grow everywhere.
take this magical feeling, spread it around from when the sun rises till the evening. Let it touch the heart of the soul that are grieving, cause we rising and without you we ain't leaving.
Love is a really special thing, can't be replaced with anything, including diamond rings and rich, wealthy kings. The offspring of a butterfly feels the love once it flies. Doesn't matter what your size, you'll feel the love inside. Now there's a thing called hate, and that's a classified mistake. There's only room for love today, so forget all the pain. Can you feel the love inside? It is spreading worldwide. With every step you take, there is pleasure, there is pain. Every being, everywhere. When you feel the love you share, or feel the love we share, let it grow everywhere.
We spreading love one at a time, one at a time. Doesn't matter your race, color, or size. All I know is that when I look into your eyes, love is all I wanna spread. I realize I love you. I say that truly from my heart, cause I know if I don't start now, who knows when we'll depart. I have faith that our love creates a spark that starts a flame that will erase all the dark, yeah. Imagine that, dark turning to light, just cause one of our hearts loosened up from its tight grip, so it touched the next with all its joy and brightness. And that's the story of how we ended this crisis.
Can you feel the love inside? It is spreading worldwide. With every step you take, there's pleasure, there is pain. Every being, everywhere. Can you feel the love we share? Feel the love we share. Let it grow everywhere. Can you feel the love inside? It's spreading worldwide. With every step you take, there's pleasure, there is pain. Every being, everywhere. Can you feel the love we share? Feel the love we share. Let it grow everywhere. Can you feel the love inside? It's spreading worldwide. With every step you take.
And with love and appreciation, I now bring back our wonderful practitioner of the day, Buzz Noe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Reverend Pam. And I'd like to say, as practitioner, welcome once again to all of you to the summer season, and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I always like to begin with some fun things. So here's a question for you all. When does a joke become a dad's joke? Well, when the punchline becomes apparent. And with that said, here's the ironic thing about children that I learned as a father. You spend the first 2 years of that child's life teaching them how to walk and talk. Then you spend the next 16 years of that same child's life telling them to sit down and shut up. Go figure. So, as practitioner of the day, we always like to share a few quotes on the subject at hand, which, of course, today is Father's Day. And here's one from Thomas Langley that I felt appropriate. When you need real understanding, when you need someone to care, when you need someone to guide you, a father's always there. And this from Reed Markham. Great fathers don't find fault. Great fathers find solutions. And that always brings back my dad to me. And from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, famous, as you know, as a celebrity actor, says this, which really resonated with me also. I realize that being a father is the greatest job I have ever had and the greatest job I will ever have. And that is so valid, especially as we look at what Father's Day. And finally, from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, who didn't reference anywhere dads per se, but he does say this, which is valid for fathers and the rest of us as well. Teach and practice and teach. That is all we have. That is all we are good for. That is all we ever ought to do. So go forward with that in mind. And some notes on fathers and Father's Day. My own dad made his transition back in the 90s, but he was a big influence on my life. He was a contractor and was always able to repair everything around and in the house that ever needed to be fixed. And what he taught me, and I've identified as a blessing in my life, he didn't actually teach me how to fix everything, but he taught me that everything and anything can be fixed. And it has stayed with me for all of my life. Really good thing to know. And once again, our founder, Ernest Holmes, in reference to what we can learn from Jesus, points out that God is the androgynous principle, the father and mother to us all. And our earthly parents symbolize that heavenly parentage, because we are men and women, fathers and mothers, but we are parents as one, bringing up our children. So it's a good lesson to keep. And as a father, I'm part of this universal unity. I feel so blessed to be the father to my wonderful daughter, Janet, my stepfather to Lynn's wonderful sons, Daniel and Jason Berkman. And I'm sure I'm not alone in this aspect of my life right now, wherein as I start to approach 3/4 of a century on the planet, start to wonder, well, what have I done? Who am I? What have I accomplished here? And certainly one of the blessings I see revealed as a father is that if nothing else, I feel that at least I've done one good thing to have been the father to my wonderful daughter, Janet, to stepdad to Lynn's 2 sons, Daniel, who's with us today, and Jason Berkman. And that really lets me feel like, hey, I've gotten something done in these years I've been here, and something that will move on past me. And I've also learned to love and respect their real father, John, who we lost a few years ago, but we continue to honor and celebrate on this Father's Day. And from both John Berkman and my dad, who have transitioned to a different life, they're great examples that we as humans, we have a limited amount of time here on this earthly world, but our legacy lives on after us in the hearts, the minds, and the souls of our children. So let's all make sure that we create and leave that legacy as an infinite blessing to all who follow. And that's our job as a father. So with that being said, I would like to bring now to a treatment. So let's close our eyes, open our hearts. As I say these words, please know them for yourself. I know that right here, right now, this very momentary example of the time and space evolution, that we are here now. And we are here now with everything and everyone. We are all one. There is one unity, one God that has created all that is, one universal source, one infinite intelligence that we call God, that has brought forth all that is and continues to bring forth all that will be. And I am here and I am now, and just by that, I am connected to that source. I am one with God, one with all that is in the universe, one with the blessings and the joy that is life. And I know that as I move forward, as I bring my consciousness to reflect my inner soul, my inner self, and motivated by love, and put forth that consciousness into the universe through my minds, my thoughts, my prayers, my words, that those blessings that I put out will come back to me tenfold. For it is an example of how we create the life that we lead. So I know that as I create that life out of love, out of giving, out of generosity and gratitude, that will come back and be reflected in my life as I continue on. And I do thank God right here and right now for this awareness, for the ability to have this creative input to my life and to the life that we all share, and the blessing that is life itself. The ability to be here now, despite all that's going on, and know that we will get through this, be more comfortable, be more evolved, be better than we were before. And I do release these words of oneness, of guidance, of love and light to the oneness that is God, to the one mind, knowing that as I say these words, know them to be so and accept them as valid in my life. They are manifest for me right here and right now. And we can all close together by saying in unison, and so it is. And so it is. I thank you all for being here. And it is my extreme pleasure to now introduce Lynn's son, my stepson, for our musical inspiration. Here he is, Daniel Berkman. Over to you, Dan.
Thank you, Buzz. Thank you so much. And happy Father's Day to you. And love you. I'm very proud of you. And also happy Father's Day to my biological father, John Berkman, who passed away a few years ago. I decided today to play a song that John wrote, actually. He wrote this little waltz, I guess, while I was in Mom's belly. It was a long time ago. So sort of untitled. We just call it John's Waltz. But this is sort of my arrangement. There's an old recording of it. And that's the only recording of it that exists. And it's a really old soundings. And it was hard to transcribe it, but I did the best I could. So anyway, here's this is John's Waltz.
Oh, Danny, thank you so much. I just want to say your mom has a real good picker. She wonderful, and so is Buzz and your biological dad, John Berkman, who played with our center for years, and he was such a wonderful soul. And again, what a honest to goodness, got a good picker. That's all I can say. And the honor of your fathers is just precious. Thank you so much. So now it is my honor literally to first introduce the talk and the person that's going to be sharing it with me today. And the talk title is a legacy, a father's legacy. And before I even bring on Reverend Kelly Bershinsky. Actually, he could share the screen with me if he wants to right now. If you can do that, I don't even know if you can do that, but I want to tell you a little bit about him. First of all, he's become a very, very dear friend, and he just graduated from ministerial school. And so this is the first Sunday service that he's been on. And one of the conditions of graduation is you have to produce a video of a talk that you're doing to go before the board to see if you qualify to become a minister. Beyond all the paperwork and beyond all the learning, are you presentable, so to speak, and are you speaking words of truth to power and truth? And so I want you to enjoy, this is his ministerial debut talk that was shown to all of the people who interviewed him and for approval. So please enjoy, and then we'll be talking with him afterwards.
Coming full circle. Well, that just makes absolute perfect sense. So please welcome Kelly Bershinsky.
Oh, good afternoon, everybody. It is an honor to be here. There's always a feeling when I'm up here speaking that comes over me. I could only describe it really as being exposed. And that is not a commentary on my shiny new haircut necessarily, but this idea of exposure really is in many ways what ministry is about to me. And it is my willingness to show up, to stand here and be seen in all my flaws, in all my glory, so to speak. And I remember the first time that I ever felt this deep level of exposure, at least in the context of spirituality in any way, was many, many years ago as a child in church. I grew up in Oklahoma. My family attended what then was known as the Reorganized Latter-day Saint Church. And I loved being there. It was kind and warm and friendly. We had a minister named Walter Sonyer who, right now, I can feel the love that dripped off that man. He was just a beautiful, beautiful guy. Well, I was at church one Sunday morning for service, and Walter was not speaking. Somebody else spoke that day who was not from our center, not from our congregation, a guest speaker. And while I only met this person maybe once or twice ever, I still remember his name because he gave a talk that day that made such a big impact on me and gave me this deep feeling of exposure. The man's name was Herb Brannon, and he gave the talk about homosexuality and his view that it is an abomination to God. Wow, I had never heard something like that in this little kind country church where I grew up. And I was maybe 12 or 13. This is 40 years ago or so. And I didn't really know what to do with this other than I wanted to dive under the pew in front of me and curl up in a ball and hide because I was becoming aware of my own sexuality and I just wanted to hide. Yet I knew I couldn't do something like that because to do so would be to alert the people in my church that I might just be one of those abominations. And so I did all I knew to do as a little 12 or 13-year-old kid, and that was to sit there on that pew, perfectly silent, perfectly still, staring straight ahead, watching this man deliver his message to me, trying not to blink or flinch or do anything that would bring attention to myself. Sit there perfectly still right next to my grandmother who brought me that day. A little grandmotherly malpractice that morning, perhaps, but what I got at the end of that service, more than anything, what I got was the knowledge that I really no longer truly fit in this little circle where I had grown up. At the very least, I was no longer fully welcome or fully included in this circle. And so that's the title of my talk today, is Coming Full Circle. And the idea of this talk is that while I took much of that talk and internalized it and carried it with me for many, many years, I have stayed with it long enough to come full circle. And to the realization that while I found that talk incredibly painful, I now realize it was an incredible gift to me. Because I learned so much about ministry from that man and about the type of minister I want to be. One of the great gifts I received from that talk is the understanding that when we stand here on this stage and have the privilege of sharing a message with other people, that we wield a mighty power. Because when we do that, when we stand here and speak, sometimes people actually listen to what we have to say. Sometimes they take our words and carry them for a lifetime. And so I understand the importance of choosing my words wisely and making sure that no one and no child for certain is ever given the message that for being who you are unacceptable. That is unacceptable to me. I also come to understand from that man and his message something, there's a line from an old country song, and the line says that miracles appear in the strangest of places. Well, for me that means this: if I stay with this long enough, if I look deeply enough or dig deeply enough, I will always find the silver lining. I will always find some measure of good in everything. There is no moment, there is no person that is worthless. Not the kid on that bench and not the man speaking. No one is worthless. At the very least, you get to provide a bad example from which someone can learn. Well, I took what I considered a very bad example that day, and from that I understand now that when you don't fit in, if you are excluded or if they can no longer make room for you in some little circle, it is very often because you are being called to something greater. I owe a big, big thank you to many people for my being here today at this point in the ministerial process. My husband, Alfie, is at the top of that list for supporting me through everything and in every way. And Alfie, the haircut is forgiven. I thank you for everything. Dr. James Mellon is at the top of that list as well for just for everything he's given us in this process, in this class. My first teacher, Dr. Maureen Hoyt, for sure. My friend, the now Dr. Joyce Bennett Hall. This class, who is beyond inspirational to me. The ladies and gentlemen of the panel that are taking us through this process this week. So many people to thank for my being here. And without question, I owe a deep debt of gratitude to Herb Brannon and the message I heard from him 40 years ago. Because when I understood that I no longer fit in this little tiny circle, I began a search for a bigger one. Because I required a circle that could make room not only for me, but that could accommodate the broad idea about what I thought about God. And I'm standing in that circle today. So I owe a deep debt of gratitude for that. That search that was started so many years ago brought me to understand a message from Ernest Holmes. And it's a very simple message, and it is a message that I will seek to carry forward and that I will tell to anyone who will listen. And this message describes this broader circle in which I find myself today. Earnest words are these: in arms which are all-inclusive, divine love encompasses everything. In arms which are all-inclusive, divine love encompasses everything. That is what I have found as a result of the journey I was set off on so long ago. This divine love, this circle, encompasses you and me. It makes room for everyone and everything, including Herb Brannon and his message. And that, my friends, is coming full circle.
Welcome back. And it's really my privilege, if I could only say it, privilege and honor to introduce one of the nicest and greatest bright new stars on the ministerial circuit. And it's Reverend Kelly Bershinsky. Welcome, Kelly.
Thanks, Reverend Pam. It's great to be here this afternoon, I guess it is.
Yes, it is. And so following that legacy talk, first of all, I loved your ministerial talk. I love when you speak periodly. I can't speak today, my own self. So I love it when you speak because you always clarify with principle and really easy lessons about who we are and how we connect to the divine and the divine within us. And so can you tell me the legacy that your father left you?
Sure. My dad passed away many years ago. He passed away in 1989. But what I remember about him is he was fun and funny, the best babysitter on the planet. Children idolized my father. He wasn't nearly as good with adults sometimes as he was with kids, but children gravitated toward him. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because in some ways, you know, as we become adults, there are things that you know, are required of us and that sort of thing. But I think children's fondness for him really speaks to his heart and to that idea of that childlike heart that he retained throughout his life.
You know, also, this is interesting because we've never talked about this, is that my dad, I always call him Good Time Charlie. He literally loved to have fun. But what I learned, and I'll make this really brief, is I credit my father with being a religious scientist today and a minister today. My mother was Catholic. My father was Jewish. My sister and I were both adopted. And on Sundays, they turned away from their religion, so to speak, but on Sundays, they dressed us all up and they dropped us off at Presbyterian Church. So we would have some kind of spiritual background. And then we would come home and my sister would begin the argument with my father, the Jewish scholar, so to speak, always to do with the scholar and the scholarly information. And it would start off something like Jesus died on the cross for our sins. And my father would say, oh, that's a bunch of hooey. Jesus was a magician. And then my mother's role in all of this was she would sit in the kitchen with her paper and say under her breath, just remember your father's crazy. So there was nothing for me to hang on to except that my dad wanted credit throughout his life. He was so generous to not only me, but to so many children and other people too. He was just a wonderful example of a giving human being. I didn't realize how much credit and ego he wanted, though. And so it was always, you'll be fine. As long as I'm here, you'll be fine. Well, when he left the planet, I was a mess. And that's when I went searching, because my father, without even me knowing it, was my divine spirit. It was God to me. And so I had to go and search out and find the truth of the foundation of who I am and who we all are. And I turn it over to you.
Well, you know what? on Father's Day, really what has come to mind for me is certainly my father and fathers in general. But what really comes to mind for me is the use of the word father as a verb rather than as a noun. And I think that usage really speaks to religious science and science of mind. Because regardless of sex or gender or any defining characteristic for any of us, we are all fathering something all the time. And that is, that it's certainly about choice, but the idea of fathering in this sense is, what is it that I'm creating? What is it that I am originating? Or is what I'm originating what I would like to do, what I would choose deliberately, maybe? Meaning, where is my thought process? How do I hold things? How do I look at things? And we see this play out day in and day out in the news this very minute. The idea of this concept for me really is about responsibility, for sure. Responsibility for how I look at things, and am I looking at everything going on in the world as a stepping stone to something greater, or do I look at it simply as a way to reinforce an opinion that I've held for whatever reason that I may not even know where it came from or something? And so I like the little twist on that for this Father's Day, and that idea of really what do I want to cause? What do I want to start or originate? Daniel played that beautiful melody. He said it was composed, I think, by his father. That's a beautiful legacy, But I think you said his name is John Berkman. He fathered that song. He originated it. He brought that into being. And I think, we can look at how we're looking at life and think, is the way I'm looking at it, the way I'm thinking about it, is it going to originate a struggle? Or is it going to, like that song, is it going to originate a beautiful waltz that we can do together? And anyway, that's really what came to me in that song.
Well, what I like, and Buzz mentioned it in his treatment too, about the androgynous principle of who we are and in that divinity. And so in that divinity, we need the father and the mother, but not separate. It is all one that is giving birth to they're not new ideas. They've already existed beyond time and space. It is for us to open up to them, and it touches your creative soul, so to speak. When you know that you know that you know that something is supposed to be coming forth, and when you do that in prayer and meditation, like you said, then you're on fire, as I say. You were on fire to become a minister, and I was with you during some of that process, and you birthed the new. You're like no one else that I've known that has spoken. So you are creating a new imprint, that your fingerprint, that fingerprint of God of who you are, is now creating that new imprint upon the planet, and it's being shared in so many great ways. And I do in the Mother Father, I just want to say I've always believed that pearl of great price is our divinity, and that the kingdom of heaven is within each and every one of us, and none of us we are like no one else. And so our job is to find that uniqueness and bring it forth for the greater good.
Well, I've always thought that my being like no one else is something everybody could be very, very grateful for. But I really come to understand, isn't that a wonderful thing? Because we are, as as much as we are one, we all have very unique perspectives and backgrounds and things that bring about in our in our everyday life and in our current lives that are really rich and different from somebody else's experience. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
It is. It's beautiful. And not only that, but our job is also to be open to it and see that uniqueness. And I'm here to learn. I'm here to see what everybody else is bringing to the plate, because I know that my plate would be very small. The banquet would be 2 foods. I want all the banquet and all the drinks and everything else. And what's so interesting is that when we are open and receptive, when we come with that beginner's mind, with that open heart and that open mind, then we can see beyond. Like if you were to, now all the time, I just pull out my vision and see whether there's chaos or not in the world. There's not chaos within me when I am at peace and I am honoring every good thing that's unfolding during the sequestering and everything else. That my job is to be the peace and to continue to bring my gifts. And it's so interesting that Facebook Live and doing this live from our homes has been such a gift. I think many of us are more relaxed. We see each other's animals. Next time you come in, you'll have to introduce Bella.
Yes.
And Alfie. Don't tell Alfie I forgot him. But
he is listening to you in another room right now.
but it is so fun to see where people are and where they live and what gifts they bring. And it's like my daughter, when I asked her to do part of, the Untethered Soul, an uplifting story, she created that all from her mind. And it's, when you see it, you haven't been able to see it because we don't see it here. It is fabulous. It really is. First she said, why do you always pick on me, more or less? And then she created this. It's very, very creative. And my son, I never asked him, Spencer, to do this. He did this for me. He does this for a living. And he said, Mom, because he's sequestered from home, but he does worldwide conferences for everyone. And he has, it's just been a miraculous time in what appears to be that untethered world where we're all seeking that pearl of great price, that foundation. Would you like to go ahead? Yes.
I think your choice of words, and I don't know if that came from the book title or if you just chose those words, Untethered Soul, but describes so much of what it looks to me like is happening right now in our world, is that desire to be free, to have the ability and wherewithal and support to live fully, to be untethered, to be to be able to honor that, the divine urge we talk about, that continuous process of wanting to become something greater, and that's it takes a lot of form, a lot of different forms to be able to do that sometimes. But I honor that within everybody, and that desire, and whatever it takes to allow that for everybody in the world.
Your video, I thought that took so much, as a little boy, to be told that you are not, fit to be on the planet or something. I admire you so much for being who you are, untethered, and you are. You'll have to come back because you've had very exciting careers, and I want to talk a little bit about that next time you come back, honey. But I honor your truth of being and who you are, and how you now have taken that pain, so to speak, and shined it out into a world that so needs that love and unconditional love, because that's what I think everybody wants on this. I'm going to close, and then I'll let you close with something too. The one thing I wanted to say and honor my dad and also my father-in-law, Bob Geagan. They were unconditional in their love, and my father could never see anything wrong with my sister and I used to want to jump on the table and say, "Are you blind? Can't you see what's happening?" He refused to see anything wrong with us ever. And that unconditional love, I think you thrive. It's like planting that mustard seed that becomes that great tree, and it grows within us when you just love from the heart. Honor it all. And now, Ho'oponopono, I'm sorry. I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me. All of those things, when you come from that space of the I love you that connects to the divinity within every single living thing in this planet, I think you've got it done. But the minute you do those things, then you turn on the news. So don't turn on the news. Anyway, I love you, Kelly Bershinsky, and everybody on. Would you like to say anything in closing, honey?
I love being here with you, Reverend Pam, and with your community. Thank you, everybody. And I will just say what I saw Dr. Maureen Hoyt post on Facebook, and I've heard her say it before, but happy Father's Day to every father and everybody who had a father. So enjoy it all. Thank you.
I say we all have one thing in common in this planet. We had a father. That's the one thing we have, that masculine, feminine principle that lies within us. Blessings galore. Not so nice to have you here with us, honey. And come back.
I sure will. Thanks.
It is now my honor to introduce our wonderful Danny Berkman. Take it, Danny.
Thank you, Pam. Well, this time I'm playing a different instrument. This is the kora, so a harp from West Africa. And I'm going to play a tune called Alalake, which basically means God is great, or God's work is great, something to that effect. And I chose this piece because I feel like, I think you said it, Pam, that something like, you saw your father as a sort of God. And in fact, we're all sort of gods in the way that we're fathering works and fathering people and fathering ideas and fathering movements, and so anyways, I thought this was an appropriate tune, and it's very uplifting and kind of fun. So this is called Alalake.
Thank you, Danny, so much. I had to mute myself. Many
It happens.
people have been trying that for years. So, anyway, honey, thank you so much. You know what it reminds me of? Your music is beyond the great beyond. It goes into the great beyond within. The vibration is amazing. It reminds me of August Rush, one of my favorite films, where he hears music in everything. But with the vibration, music, literally when it vibrates within you, it raises your consciousness, it raises your soul. Thank you. And you do that. You bring that with you, your presence and your music. Blessings.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank you, Pam.
Father's
You
Day.
too. Thank you.
And so now, and we'll see you soon.
Yes. In the flesh.
And I wanted you so much here to be with us again on Father's Day. And you did it
Yeah.
for us. Thanks.
That means a lot. Thank you so much for having me. Very grateful.
Anyway, and now I am going to tell you how you can send your donation. But first, we're going to do our offertory, and you can do this silently or out loud with us. It is divine love blesses
and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
And
so it
is. And that's the way it is. And now I would like to put on one more song, please. And again, during this time, your generosity is so appreciated. So, and your sacred donations are more than ever appreciated. Our mailing address is CSL Pleasant Valley, 221 East Daly Drive, Suite number 1, Camarillo, California, 93010. Our website to send us prayer requests. And also, if you would like to share your story about being in an untethered world, your great experiences while being social distancing and sequestering, we would love to see them and hear them. And possibly, I think we would be able to post them too. And so our website is www.csl-pleasantvalley.org. Send us your story, and let's get you here on a Sunday too. And now it is so wonderful. We're going to do Nemo Patel and Daniel Namad again with Grateful. And the reason that we're doing this is, again, Daniel Namad and Nemo Patel have given us the use for all spiritual associations to use their music. And so we're just so grateful for their generosity. Enjoy.
You're my life, you're my breath, you're a smile, you're my guest. You're the earth, you're the sun, you're the grass, you are love. You're my hands, you're a bug, you're my eyes, you're a hug. You're the light in the dark, you're the spark, you are fun. You're my mom, you are water, you're the stars, you're my daughter. You're my friend till the end, you're my dreams, you're my father. You're the ants on the ground, the miracles that surround. I'm feeling it all around, the hemisphere in the clouds. You're my pain, you're my sorrow, you're my hope for tomorrow. You're the strength when I'm hollow, you're the path that I follow. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss. The gift to realize that everything
all
is
that I am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all, for it all. Grateful for it
You're the blessings every time I try to count. You're the lessons that I learn every time I turn around. You're the water when I'm burned every time I think I found everything I'm looking for. You're the sign saying stop to take a bow and keep moving forward and start looking towards your heart. It'll open all the doors and only then you'll start to hear the world singing chorus with your mind and heart, aligned in purpose, everything
All
will feel
that I
gorgeous.
am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all.
Every day I sit and pray, cause what I have is more than I deserve or could ever imagine. How do I give back to all of this magic and spread the love so everybody can have it? Doesn't matter if I'm rich or poor, if I got a family or if I'm all alone. Bad things happen, I can just complain and moan, but there's a million things that I can be grateful for.
So I lift up my hands now, and I open my heart, and my gratitude goes out to everything near and far. All that I am,
Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I look deep down and feel all the blessings. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I'm grateful for it all. It's amazing. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I look deep down and feel all the blessings. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I'm grateful for it all. It's amazing. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss, the gift to realize that everything is a gift.
Wait, one more. This is for y'all.
all that I am.
All that I've been.
It's a blessing.
It's so amazing.
I am grateful
Hi, I just want to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you so much, Reverend Kelly Bershinsky, Reverend Betty Ann Brennan, Reverend Lynn Chaplin Noe, and also our wonderful Buzz and our Danny. And we just want to say peace out. Happy Father's Day. Everybody wave.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
And happy not only Father's Day, but happy fathers who have dog days too. Happy dog day. Love you, each and every one of you out there. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next Sunday, and I'll see you in meditation tomorrow morning. Mwah! Peace out.